How does it feel? See, we want to act like marketing and business don't play a role in all of this. Have you ever been to the Olympics? Team USA and the WNBA and all of these folks shouldn't be thinking about marketing. It is about what's going to be unfair to the other ladies, blah, 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 blah.
What do you think matters more in sports? Pure talent or star power? Team USA just made a choice that's got everyone talking. Stephen A. Smith is fired up. He's about to explain why leaving Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster isn't just about basketball. It's about the future of women's sports. Now, let's discuss Caitlin Clark. This young lady is causing a tsunami instead of just creating waves in college basketball. Ever since her debut at Iowa, Clark has been shattering records. She's altering the game, not just racking up points. Do you know her statistics? They're astounding. This season, Clark has averaged more than 30 points per game. However, it goes beyond the figures. It's her method of doing it. Her shooting percentage from 3 points is insane. She is making easy 3-pointers from NBA range. And her vision in court, amazing. You have to wonder if Clark has eyes in the back of her head because she is dishing out assists like crazy. The fact is, Caitlin Clark isn't just dazzled basketball fans with her numbers. She is starting to become well known. Fans who have never seen a women's basketball game before are tuning in to watch Clark compete. She's an event, not just a player. Stephen A. Smith understands. He is referring to Clark as a total superstar. Furthermore, he is correct. Have you heard about the Washington, D.C. game? In the arena, more than 20,000 people came to see Clark perform. That's not typical of a college game during the regular season. That is the domain of superstars. You may be asking yourself why this is relevant to Team USA. Alright, consider that. Not only is Clark a fantastic basketball player, she's attracting new followers to the game. She's making waves. She's elevating women's basketball to a primetime TV sport. The key question now is, why would Team USA turn a blind eye to a player who is selling out arenas and setting records? Surely, that defies logic. It's players like Clark who have the potential to increase interest in Olympic basketball. She's fascinating. She is a marketable asset. She represents the sport's future. However, Team USA chose not to select Clark. They chose players with more expertise. Indeed, experience does matter. Nevertheless, shouldn't star power be taken into consideration in a sport that is vying for viewers' attention and respect? Here's where Stephen A. Smith enters the picture. His anger goes beyond Clark's exclusion from the team. He believes that this is a sign of a more serious issue with women's basketball. It involves more than one player. It has to do with how the sport promotes itself. The goal is to get rising stars ready for the big time. Consider this. How frequently do you hear discussions about Olympic women's basketball? Not a whole lot, is that right? But that might alter now that Clark is a member of the team. She might represent the sport, the international player who ignites passion for women's basketball. Rather, Team USA exercised caution. They chose the well-known names, the tried and true, and perhaps that was the wise basketball play. Is this, however, the best course of action for the sport's future? This is where the interesting part of Clark's snub begins. It's not as simple as one athlete not making it to the Olympics. It concerns a squandered chance to improve women's basketball, to attract new followers, to generate interest in and enthusiasm for the sport. And for that reason, Stephen A. Smith is incredibly enthused. For him, Clark is not just a fantastic player, she has the ability to revolutionize women's basketball. In his opinion, someone who could raise the bar for the sport. Stephen A. Smith isn't one to hold back when it comes to his disapproval of Caitlin Clark's Olympic disqualification. He referred to the choice as stupid. Yes, you did indeed hear that. Not merely an error, not just a lack of vision, but outright foolishness. And you can tell Stephen A. means business when he uses that word. But why is he getting so worked up over this? It's more than just that Clark is a fantastic athlete. It has to do with what she stands for in women's basketball. Smith believes Clark has the potential to revolutionize the sport as a whole, not just on the court. Let's dissect Stephen A.'s claim. He's not merely discussing Clark's abilities, though those are indisputable. He is discussing her star power, her capacity to attract large audiences and generate excitement. Smith notes that Clark is creating more interest in women's basketball than we have seen in a long time, selling out arenas and shattering viewing records. Perhaps you're thinking, well, but the Olympics aren't about famous people, do they? Putting together the best team is the key. You would also be correct. That's precisely the claim that Team USA is putting forth. They are discussing the other players' experiences and the dynamics within the team. It's being said that Clark may not be prepared for the global arena. This is where Stephen A's argument becomes very intriguing though. He is considering more than just what occurs on the court. He is considering the wider picture. Smith contends that USA basketball is losing out on a significant chance to advance the sport by keeping Clark off the squad. Consider it. How many casual sports fans watch women's basketball at the Olympics? Now picture Caitlin Clark in the role. All of a sudden, there's a cause for those who have never watched women's basketball to become interested. You have a tale to tell and a star to pursue. However, the issue extends beyond eyes on screens. When Stephen A discusses the economic impact, he makes a shocking revelation. Are you prepared to do this? According to him, local revenue from women's basketball games can exceed $1 million. Indeed, $1 million. And star power plays a big part in all of that. Let's join the dots now. Imagine what Clark could accomplish on the Olympic stage if she can pack arenas during her time in college. Because of one player's drawing power, the economic impact could potentially reach the millions of dollars. However, money is not the only factor. The goal is to expand the sport. Its goal is to gain new followers. It's all about providing a role model for young girls. I don't leave her at home when you have a player like Clark who can do all that, says Stephen A. There are of course reputations, team dynamics are crucial. International stage experience counts. The other team members have merited their positions. All of these points are legitimate. Stephen A, though, isn't buying it. He contends that taking a chance is sometimes necessary. You have to occasionally look beyond what occurs on the court. You need to consider the sport's future. After watching Stephen A. Smith's impassioned defense of Caitlin Clark's selection to Team USA, let's examine the implications of this choice for women's basketball. It's not as simple as one athlete not making it to the Olympics. There might be significant repercussions. When was the last time you watched women's basketball at the Olympics? Unable to recall? You're not by yourself. For years, interest has been declining. But what if Caitlin Clark was a member of that group? All of a sudden, you have a cause to pay attention, an inspiration to emulate, an exciting tale to savor. However, Team USA was cautious. They chose experience over celebrity endorsements. Indeed, it could be the wise decision to win games. Is this, however, the best decision for the sport's future? Not in Stephen A. Smith's opinion. He's not merely discussing Clark's abilities on the court. He is discussing her capacity to attract large audiences, generate excitement, and start conversations about women's basketball. He's got a point too. When was the last time you noticed a social media trending women's college basketball game? When was the last time you overheard someone discussing a female basketball player in the same manner as Clark? The sport needs more excitement like this. Team USA just failed on it as well. This is where things get really interesting though. Smith is not limited to discussing lost chances. He is discussing a basic issue with the way that women's basketball develops its future stars. You see, Smith contends that players ought to concentrate on being prepared for opportunities rather than whining about not getting enough playing time. He's arguing that the game has to do a better job of readying up-and-coming athletes for the limelight, since let's be honest, the spotlight is about to shine. Is it something that players will be prepared for? It's where Clark enters the picture. She's not just an excellent athlete, she is outstanding. She is a person who does well under pressure and who loves attention. Furthermore, Smith contends that by not including her on the squad, Team USA is passing up an opportunity to demonstrate the potential of the upcoming women's basketball talent. However, it goes beyond Clark alone. It concerns all the young players who are advancing behind her. How does this convey a message to them that you always have to wait your turn, regardless of how successful you are or how much buzz you generate? It doesn't seem like a formula for expanding the sport. Now, you may be saying to yourself, but the Olympics are about winning medals, not about growing the sport. You would also be correct. The problem is that those two things are more interconnected than ever in the modern world. Consider it. Increased interest translates into more viewers. More sponsorships equate to more viewers. The sport will benefit financially from more sponsorships. Furthermore, greater funding translates into improved facilities, coaching, and eventually, players. Everything is interconnected. And that gets us to the crux of Smith's argument. He contends that the sport's visibility can be raised by the attractiveness of athletes like Caitlin Clark. Now listen to him before you become angry. Smith is bringing up a fact about sports media. Viewers can be attracted by attractiveness. And that counts in a world of sports where men predominate. Is it just? Perhaps not. Should we have a conversation about it? Indeed. But Smith isn't arguing that Clark's attractiveness should disqualify her from the team. He's arguing that her celebrity, which yes includes her looks, could contribute to the increased visibility of women's basketball in general. there is more to Caitlin Clark's Olympic snub than just one athlete losing out on a competition. It has to do with women's sports future. There is a discussion about this Team USA decision that goes far beyond basketball. It's making us reevaluate how we promote and get young female athletes ready for the limelight. Consider it. When was the last time a female college basketball player generated this much attention? Not only is Clark shattering records on the court, outside the court too, she is altering the rules. In a way we haven't seen before, she is energizing people about women's basketball, drawing in new supporters, and packing arenas. Here's the thing though, not only did Team USA lose out on a fantastic player, a goldmine for marketing that they missed, and it's infuriating people like Stephen A. Smith. He is arguing that this is more than just a basketball choice. This is a business choice, and it's a bad one in his view. You may be thinking, wait a minute at this point. Is it the purpose of the Olympics to assemble the greatest team? Not related to advertising. You would also be correct. Team USA is stating precisely that. They are discussing the experience and chemistry of the team. It's being said that Clark might not be prepared for the global arena. This is where things get tricky though. According to Smith, the most marketable player occasionally gets chosen over the best player. Is that appropriate? Perhaps not. Is it reality though? Indeed. Furthermore, star power counts in a sport that is vying for viewers' attention and respect. It's not just about Clark here. It concerns all the young female athletes who will follow in her footsteps. How does this convey a message to them that you always have to wait your turn, regardless of how successful you are or how much buzz you generate? That does not seem to be a formula for expanding women's sports. But first, let's stand back. What implications does this have for women's basketball going forward? What about general women's sports? Are we in a transitional period? Might choices such as these alter our strategies for marketing and getting young female athletes ready for the big stage? These are challenging inquiries. There are also no simple solutions. There is, of course, the conventional method. Pay attention to the dynamics of the team. Honor your experience. Develop gradually and steadily. Conversely, there is the star-driven strategy. Accept youthful talent, profit from the buzz, leverage celebrity influence to propel the sport forward. Which strategy is best? Perhaps there is no right or wrong answer. Perhaps striking a balance is the key. However, one thing is certain, the discourse surrounding Caitlin Clark's Olympic snub is compelling us to reconsider our perspective on women's sports. This is where the interesting part begins. Clark isn't going to the Olympics, but her influence is already being felt. She has ignited a national dialogue regarding women's basketball. People are chatting to her about star power and marketing in women's sports. Without even setting foot on the Olympic court, she is revolutionizing the sport. What comes next then? What changes will this bring about in the women's basketball and sports marketing scene? Will the development of rising stars receive more attention? Will choosing a team increasingly depend on marketability? Or will the conventional method continue to work?